A Quiet Place Part 2 is directed by John Krasinski and stars Emily Blunt and Cillian Murphy. In this second instalment, we see the Abbott family just after the death of Lee, the father.
A spoiler alert if you haven't seen A Quiet Place.
Come and watch that bad boy and then join me back here. We join them straight after the gun cock at the end, the awesome ending to the first film. We come straight to them, and now they figured out a weapon against the weird things. We now see them in the outside world and the strange people they meet along the way.
They are mighty strange.
Now, when the first Quiet Place movie came out, I spoke about how that is one of my favourite films in a genre that I do not like. I'm not a horror fan, and yet A Quiet Place drew me in, and it's probably one of my favourite cinematic experiences I've ever had. So, yeah, I think it's got a pretty high bar. And then John Krasinski, my old mate Jim Halpert, came out and said that he was going to release A Quiet Place 2 as it was supposed to be seen in the theatres. I've actually seen people in comments and on online articles and stuff saying, "Oh, I'm not going to go anyway because it's going to be on HBO Max and I'm just going to watch it at home." I agree with John Krasinski rather than those boring people. The first one was visceral and it needed you to be in a dark place and enveloped into the film, and the best thing he did was say the same for this one. So as soon as he released it, lockdown is easing here in the UK, we're nearly all finished, so me and the missus, first day the cinemas were open to do
it, we were in there, baby.
Now of course, that's high praise.
That's high praise.
Which means of course, the second instalment has an awful lot to live up to. So there is one question everyone has had on their mind since the first one came out way back when this one was released, and that question is it good or better than A Quiet Place 1? And due to my horrible upload schedule and the fact that it's just hotter than the fucking sun at the moment,
It's hotter than the sun.
I have had a week to mull on it, and my honest and very short answer is no. Now I know I'm going to get called a big ginger fat moron for saying that, but honestly, I'm not going to just sit here and say, no, there's nothing, just there, whatever. I have a one-word answer as to why I think this film isn't as good as the first one, and that word is suspense. Now don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean I think this is a bad film, because by all means I do not. There are some good things, I will get to those, but honestly I sat there and I was watching it with my wife and we were liking it, but you just kept thinking in the back of your head, I'm not as engrossed. Here's an example for you. The first one, okay, I went to go and see it on my own, which was great fun. I absolutely loved it. And I didn't have a drink, I didn't have any snacks, I just sat there and I was sitting there going, if I whisper, I will be killed, or, you know, there was something there going, don't move a muscle. And I didn't for 2 hours, and you go, oh my god, I was engrossed in the cinematic experience, which I love, and as I say, I'm glad John did it for the second one. But I just didn't feel it this time around, and that's a real shot. I had snacks and I was banging out some ice cream with birthday cake flavour in it. It was that damn good. I just don't get why I didn't like it that much. It just wasn't, it didn't grab me by the cojones and go, be quiet. It didn't feel like that to me. You know what? I think I put it down to the fact that now I don't think the monsters bring me all that much sort of dread, maybe. When you first see them, they're an excitement, they're a spectacle. Now we know what they are, we know what they do. I like that the first 15 minutes is how it still raises some questions, but it's an all singular take. There's a video on YouTube of Krasinski explaining the very first scene, and he tried to make it a full take. That's amazing. I did love the first 15 minutes of it. I can't fault that, and it still made the aliens feel fresh and new. But once you get past that and we're into modern day, yes, they're avoiding them in certain ways, and yes, they now have a weapon against them. But there's still the aspect of dread and the simplicity of the dread that was in the first film. You know, like Emily Blunt putting the baby in the flooded room, and you just see one of the monsters dip under, and all she's trying to find is an oxygen tube. It's simple. It's perfectly simple, and it encompasses what A Quiet Place was about. That simplistic terror. I feel like that was missed in this because we know what they are, and they kind of know how to avoid them. They become a bit expert at it, and yeah, it kind of it detracts from it, but it didn't ruin it. It wasn't horrible. I wasn't sitting there hating myself for it, but it just wasn't the same oomph that the first one had. Now we've approached the station, let's get off the train of pessimism, shall we? And let's talk about something fun, things that I enjoyed. In the first movie, of course, Krasinski and Blunt, they're a married couple, so you don't have to worry about the chemistry. And of course this time there, it's gone. Yes, it's in the first few minutes, but Krasinski is purely on directing duty after that. There is no more Krasinski in the film. Emily Blunt turns it up to 11.
These go to 11.
In this movie, she was fantastic in A Quiet Place, but in A Quiet Place 2, the woman is amazing. She's a fantastic actor anyway, brilliant, but she carries the entire movie this time. You kind of feel like it was more Krasinski last time because he had more stuff to do, and obviously Emily's character was pregnant in the first one, so that, you know, her giving birth was really intense, but the heavy lifting went to Krasinski's character of Lee. This time she absolutely rules everybody else. And you've got Cillian Murphy now in there, you know, and Jimon Honsu in the cast as well. There's a huge cast now, but she absolutely rules. I love her. She is amazing. She rules this whole thing, and her husband, funnily enough, are a great working team together. Who would have thought? The same can be said for Cillian Murphy, my Tommy Shelby, my boy, big Peaky Blinders fan over here. He's a great actor, as we all know. He puts his own spin on what he has to do, but he doesn't get in the way of the narrative of the Abbotts. He's with them, but he's not, you know, he doesn't take over the role of Lee Abbott by Krasinski. He doesn't take over that, which is good. It's smart, it's clever. He's not the dad. He's there to help the deaf girl now do something else. If you haven't seen it, if you have, you know what I mean. All I'm saying is he's a worthy actor to join the franchise, and he's clever enough to know his place in it. I very much think he probably worked with Krasinski to get this. He's a great guy, and you can't find safer hands to be in than with Cillian Murphy. He was brilliant. Of course, as I've just said, he was outclassed by Emily Blunt, but he was still fantastic. And my God, it's hot today. Why is England melting? I'm nearly there with the end of the bad stuff, but I really think the kids were really annoying in this one, if not more annoying than the first one. I know that the deaf actress lady, I can't remember her name, I'll put it here. She's great, love her, but the characters are very annoying. They're just there to push back on the parents, who are the smarter ones. They're stronger, they're smarter, they're pushing, that's their job, to push back or do the stupid thing, and they're just more stupid now, and that's just kind of annoying. Last but not least, for the bad stuff, is something that I noticed only a few days ago that I really hope doesn't happen. So the ending is very open still. It asks some questions, and when we got in the car on the way back from watching the movie, me and my wife were going, oh, it may be set up for a sequel, but I think no. I think what they're doing might be slightly worse. By the looks of it, because it is such an open book, I really do think that maybe I really do think that maybe they could go for a TV adaptation, because you could spread this to different parts of a world, or you could go with what happens after she does the thing at the end that she does. I genuinely believe that's what they could be setting up for. I think it makes sense to me. I thought of that like a day or two ago. I thought that the ending is that open, that gives them the option, which I think would suck. But I could just see it happening, which is a disappointment to me, because they could just leave films where they are, but it feels like they're not gonna, which could go badly. But let's see. If I'm right, we'll come back to it, but I think that might happen. Guys, if you like the first movie, you'll like this one, but please don't expect to be blown away like you were the first time. It's a good sequel, but it's not the best sequel. Guys, with all this being said, I give it a 3.5 out of 5. So there you have it, guys. There is my review on A Quiet Place Part 2. It's good to be back doing regular reviews. I will be getting back to my rants, because since lockdown and stuff, I still find those super fun, so we're still going to do those. Guys, until next time, this is your friendly neighbourhood ginger guy saying, Ginge out.